My name is Dr. Zhivago. I'm a board-certified prosthodontist teaching digital dentistry at NYU College of Dentistry. Today, we are here at Downtown Dental in Westfield, New Jersey.
My name is Dr. Grace Kim. I graduated from New York University College of Dentistry.
Today's masterclass is about designing and printing and inserting a SprintRay ceramic crown. I started 3D printing about 2013 and joined the SprintRay family in 2017. Started to do more DLP printing and started to teach about it, figure out what's the best system. We have about 6 printers in the office. It's so fantastic. It's built my office to what it is today.
My 3D printing experience started during my residency with Dr. Zhivago here, using the SprintRay products almost a couple of years ago now that we've been printing.
Initially, we started to do a lot of 3D printing, which was more model-based or surgical guide-based. Then we moved to temporary materials that we use for temporizing patients for large cases. But being at this point in time, somewhere where we can print a final crown with our office printers is just amazing. I mean, how these things happen in the last couple of years and we stand today is just like unbelievable for dentistry. I'm really happy being a dentist today.
For any patient having to take time out of their schedule to come back for multiple appointments, it can be really tough. And so being able to have a process that is really accurate in a really efficient, short time, that you can do it potentially in a single appointment if you needed to, is really beneficial for the patient as well as for our office as well. That just decreases the amount of chair time that you have to consider. One of the great things about 3D printing is the amazing accuracy that you're able to exhibit in the results. That becomes really an important characteristic for us.
One of the other benefits that I want to mention is, for example, if you have a patient where the shade is not exactly the way you want to be when you get it back from a laboratory, let's say, here we have the possibility to print the same crown 4 or 5 times and create different nuances and customize it in different ways. And we can 100% insert it at day because we can change it up on the fly. And you don't have to be an expert to use 3D printing in your office because the learning curve is very minimal. All our staff can use the machine. I can even tell the people that work in my administration to just print something. It's basically to click a button.
It's really just plug in, drag, and press play and let it go and do its own thing and you're done. It's the future of dentistry. So if you're not doing it now, you're gonna be behind.
We like to design our own crowns, so most of us can do that and customize it, but you don't need to do that. SprintRay has, for example, an AI feature where the crowns will be designed for you in a very short amount of time, 2-3 minutes after you send it out. So everything is so streamlined and made so easy that for me, if somebody says, I don't want to get into 3D printing, the only questions I have, why?
You have so much flexibility and your turnaround time is negative now. It only makes sense that this would be the next step.
When the patient comes in, initially we do our usual workflow. The patient will get anesthetized. We evaluate the existing restoration. Usually, if we just talk about one posterior crown, we do not need to do a pre-op scan because we will design the crown on the computer, so it will be a little bit different. Initially, when we start to prepare the tooth, we don't have to do anything else than we would prepare to our normal standards, about 1.52 millimeters in reduction. What I would recommend, though, in terms of the preparation, that all the internal line angles should be rounded as you would do for other full ceramic crown. Before we scan, we pack usually also the cord. So there's nothing really new on our workflow in the office. I prefer the matted scanner for a simple reason, because it gives me a very good result. It's extremely precise and also is a completely open architecture scanner. So I can export all the files right after the scan in a STL, OBJ or PLY format that works also very well in the SprintRay ecosystem. When we scan, we usually leave it in HD mode because this will give us like a more crisper margin of our preparation. Then the computer is processing the file. Usually I export it as an STL file, but also as a PLY file because it has color data. We have actually in our computer a link from the Medit scanner directly to the SprintRay system. When we do more complex cases or aesthetics cases, we do chairside photography. We also do a full face photography in a rest position, in a smile position, lateral view, and there's a bunch of standard photos that you have to take to ensure that all the complexity of the teeth and the face is captured.
Now that we've captured all the digital data, it's time to design the crown for 3D printing.
For the SprintRay ceramic crown, we use their AI design service. So in this particular case, we worked on a relative of Dr. Kim. So I started up the work and then she finished it up. And together we designed it, or not really designed it, we used together the AI cloud system for this patient. With these files, we were sitting basically together and would import it in SprintRay cloud account. Of course, you have to request that you want to make a crown. So you have the opposing scan and the scan where the tooth was prepped, and you have to upload that, including the bite. And then once you upload the initial scans, you can add additional comments if there's something that is unusual or you want to add. And if not, you basically click next and purchase the crown design, and you wait a minute or two and then you get a design back.
What I think is a little bit different about our workflow is that we like to put our own little finishing personal touches on it as well. So we can take that STL, and if you like, you can always manipulate it in another program and just do some minor tweaks.
In our office, we're very advanced in terms of designing our own restorations. We use some dental softwares, but I think one of the softwares that we use that is very unique is ZBrush, which is a CGI software. We adapted the software for dentistry because we work in dentistry with wax, and that's basically what it is, digital wax. But the AI brings such a value to our process because we don't have to go from scratch and do this all from, a sphere to a crown. It just gives us basically the shape and the fit. And then with ZBrush, we can just modify it, tweak little things that eventually we want to do or the patient likes, and we can have the AI save us the time, but still keep individualizing all our work.
What the AI produces is really great stuff. So you by no means have to get into really complicated software to try and make all these changes. It's just our own personal workflow for a lot of our patients who really want to put their own input and characterizations in some of the restorations. But for the bulk of our patients, totally unnecessary. We can go straight from the design that the AI produces and print that, and it's great. Now that SprintRay AI has given us our design, it's time to move on to printing and post-processing.
We know how it is when you have a busy office. It's always great to have somebody helping you as well. This process you can delegate to anybody.
With your Pro 55S printer, all you need is the crown kit in order to be able to print the SprintRay ceramic crown material. The tanks are much smaller and the platforms are much smaller to help with increased speed and decrease waste. You can print up to 6 crowns on the platform without actually increasing any of your printing time. With this patient, it was a single posterior crown bounded by 2 already existing teeth. So we chose the shade A1 to best match.
So initially we have the file on the platform that simulates the printing platform in the cloud. Now that cloud is connected to our printer. We are taking the material. I would recommend it to shake it a little bit, open up the lid, and in this case, pour the printing material in the smaller tray that is specifically made for the SprintRay crown material. After that, you just close the lid and push the start button, and printing will start immediately. It takes about 10 minutes to get a crown set in the printer profile in a horizontal way. After the printer is done, the platform moves up, and then we open the lid, we remove the platform,
and just scrape the crowns off the platform. They're usually stuck on it with a little bit of a base. Drop it onto a little towel. You just snip off the supporting struts. With this particular ceramic crown resin, you have to wash it twice. So once it comes off the printing platform, you do your initial wash, and then you take it out of the curing machine and you go through another wash cycle where you drop it back in your tank or you spray it down with your isopropyl alcohol, brush everything off again, and just dry everything off really dry with compressed air. In our case today, we put all 6 crowns in the curing machine and everything was cured in 6 minutes. Once that was done, we were able to give that to our technician who could characterize and glaze our final crown.
You can, of course, polish them, but then I would still recommend to glaze them.
Now that the crown's been processed, it's time to deliver to our patient. Once everything is printed, you treat it like you would any other crown that you made the quote-unquote traditional way. Check the contacts, make sure the internal fit is good, margins are good, occlusion's good. I usually like to take a radiograph to verify full seating, make sure the patient likes the way that it looks, and then we cement it with a resin-based cement. It's never been a better time to get into 3D printing. With SprintRay, they make it so easy. They're only making more and more improvements and more innovations to make our lives easier as clinicians and help patients get better care.
And it's a lot of fun too. It really is.
It is, yeah. Thanks so much for spending a few minutes with us to go over what SprintRay and 3D printing a ceramic crown can do for you and your patients.
Keep in mind, it helps us a lot with our workflow, so I hope that you enjoyed this masterclass with us today, and you will be also very soon ceramic crown user.